Yeah. What up, what up, what up, what up? Y'all know it's your boy EJ, aka Mr. Conversation. Now you're not tuned in to the hot seat. This is just some personal conversation I wanted to have, addressing some things that's been going on. But yeah, all right, but that's enough of that. Listen, I'm not gonna be on long today. This will be about 15, maybe 20 minutes at most. As the title says, it's correcting the rumors, keeping receipts, weight loss updates, and what makes a legend. All right, we're gonna cover all of this real quick. So I'm gonna get straight into it. I understand people are at work, it's 11:30 right now. And just wanted to do some solo content for a minute. Now, first off, the weight loss updates. Shout out to everyone who has supported me on my weight loss journey. Going over some old information I've already spoke about before. I used to be 376 pounds. All right. It was real close to 400. Let myself go a lot. Got to the point where walking was starting to hurt. A lot of jokes at my expense about my weight. Whenever somebody couldn't really find anything else, that's what they would go to. Also, just for my own personal appearance and things, wasn't liking the way that I looked in the mirror. Didn't like myself. So I decided to do something about it. Had weight loss surgery. Okay. At the time when I first weighed 376, started working out a little bit, going to the gym, walking on a regular basis, ended up losing about 35 pounds, something like that. Qualified for the surgery, gained a few pounds back. Once I went on the surgery, I ended up being about 340, something like that, at the time of surgery. All right. Now, as of right now, your boy, I am 260 pounds. Now, since surgery, that is 81 pounds. And total weight loss, that's 116 pounds. Now, again, I readily admit your boy went through surgery. It was tough for me. Still having certain ways of food addiction, working on that. So this was a way for me to help myself. And, we'll never apologize for that. What I will say is I respect everybody, whether they go through surgery or they don't, all your weight loss journeys and stuff like that. Trust me, I feel you. All right. So that's the update on that. There's anybody, that ever wants to talk about it, anybody that ever wants to have, any type of conversations, needs somebody to support, go walking, things of that nature, I'm here for you. You can reach out to me in my inbox on Facebook. If you're watching this, you might see it. Message me on YouTube, whatever that it is that you see this show on. And I will be there for you, whether it's walking in the morning, whether it's the conversations, accountability in that. I'm with y'all 100%. So, as I say, feel free to comment. I enjoy the back and forth. Won't be on too long here. Thank you guys for those who have showed up and anybody that will be watching this. I greatly appreciate every like, watch, subscribe, everything that you guys do. It means a lot. Okay, now that covers the weight loss. Now, let me correct some of the things that have been, I guess, whispered or rumored or just point blank said. About in particular what the hot seat is. Okay. Yes, I did start off in this city being known as Mr. Controversy. However, that was because I was not afraid to touch controversial subjects. It wasn't about being messy. It wasn't about disrespecting anybody. like I always like to say, my first show that I ever did on here in this city was with a place called 706. And the first thing that I talked about was child support needed? Was it a broke hustle or was it a means to an ends? That was what that was about. I do my best to consider both sides, but I am a person, I am flawed, I'm human at the end of the day. Try to be as research as possible on my arguments, but I'm not perfect. Shout out to you, D. Appreciate you. Got to get you come through and do some content with me when you get a chance. Now, so what a lot of you don't know, I'm not just a new up and comer. Whether I've been doing some things in this city, let's start from the beginning. When I actually started doing content, I started doing content with a group called Complete Nerd Authority. Those of you know, I am a big anime fan, comic books, TV, all that type of stuff. Also love music. Also, just in general, I do a lot of different things. But I started off my content with a group called Complete Nerd Authority. You can look them up on YouTube, 2015. So I've got 10 years in the game, y'all. Just want to let y'all know that. Public speaking, even longer than that. So I'm not some new guy that's just came on the scene in the last couple of years. Shout out to all you guys, everything like that. So contrary to what is potentially being said or what you heard, I'm not just some just popped up out of the blue. Second of all, 2020 going into 2021, I got with a show called 706, sponsored by Mr. G, who was, rest in peace, passed away a few months ago, Mr. Frank, and First Lady. The show was already established previously, a year or so before I got there, and I got there. We did a lot of things. Shout out to all the DJs that was there, DJ Sun Valley, DJ Dior, Darlin Dior, DJ Black. Those were the main three when I was there. There's other people that have been there, Terrific, DJ Terrific, as well as it's a few more. I can't think of off the top of the dome. No disrespect to anybody. Just wanted to put that out there. So we did a lot of content, whether it was going and supporting businesses, in particular small Black businesses, to artists, bringing them on. I used to schedule a lot of different artists that have been on, poetry people, interviews, a lot of things we did there. So then when it was time to come on my own for my own content, then I started the hot seat. Okay, the hot seat was done in 2020. I take that back. Let me 2019 was my first show. I did it with a guy named Jeff Johnson, and we did a kind of hot seat type show. Originally it was called The Flip Side, and then we changed it to the hot seat. That's on Spotify. The dates and everything, you can go and you can check those. So 2019, you can circle it, comes on Spotify. So I've been doing the podcasting. I just was doing audio podcast, had a different type of viewership. My viewership was more of the nerds and statistic type people and things like that. And we talked about politics, but we also had a variety show. We talked about a lot of different things. So then I took that to the hot seat. My boy Jeff was like, hey, bro, got a new job. Can't do it with you. You got to go solo, do it. You can take the name, go do what you do. You can call it the flip side. You can call it the hot seat. The flip side was because we look on things on both sides like a pancake. You can flip it. Might be a Republican, might be a Democrat. You on the left, you a right, you red pill, you blue pill. Anybody from any type of way could find something in the show that you like. All right. Then I bring it to the hot seat. The hot seat, I decided to do more of a variety show. Have other people on, have rotating people that'll keep coming in and out. Nobody in particular. Put my name on it because I'm the solo person and I'm the one pushing it and everything like that. And so that's where the hot seat came from. Now, anybody who has ever been on the hot seat, You can ask them. I turn in questions beforehand. I talk to them about what we're going to go over, even co-hosts or guests. We don't do anything messy on the hot seat. There's no surprises. The hot seat, though, is about sometimes asking uncomfortable questions. It's not messy. It's not, yo, I heard your baby mama and da 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 da. That's not what it is. Sometimes if I see I maybe have stepped into something, I swerve around. If I see people looking uncomfortable, looking to whatever. But I want to apologize for this show being the show that asks you questions. It's not about being nosy. It's not about getting in your business. If you come on and it's molded as a podcast type for that day, that's what we're going to do. If it's an interview, you're going to know the general questions that I'm going to ask, because I do go live and I never, ever disrespect anybody. I never, ever put any jokes on anybody as far as that should be inappropriate as far as your career, anything like that. We respect people's careers and we respect what they have going on. I also not here to make anybody look bad. I have audio issues sometimes, probably having some now. Place where I'm at, the internet sometimes goes in and out. Apologize for, those type of things. But as far as the content is not disrespectful to the people that are in the show. And I don't ever try to make fun of anybody. So if you come on the hot seat, I promise you, you are respected. Now, we ain't got to be best friends or anything like that. That's not what I'm here for. But I am here to help facilitate maybe potentially bringing you into a different market that you might don't have. I try to be variety. So when it comes to artists, now I will want to say this. I don't just focus on artists. Okay. That is not my main thing. My main thing is I'm an opinion giver. So I talk about subjects. Some of them might be controversial, but it is no disrespect to anybody in particular. What I'm going to talk about in a minute or two is something that was controversial here in this city a couple of days ago, and a post went viral. I'm not gonna say viral, but it went around the city. It was shared. There was some back and forth, and I'm just gonna weigh in and give my opinion on it. It's no disrespect to any of the parties involved. I am just giving my opinion as Mr. Conversation, because that's what I do, radio and podcast. So I wanted to cover all of that, because when anybody hears something that you don't like or something like that, first off, don't stop sending stuff and sharing it and all that stuff to be negative. If you want to share because you believe in what I'm saying or you believe in whatever, I'm cool with that. I understand that. I love that. And thank you for that. But if you're sharing to go, oh, I think somebody is talking about you, or I think that somebody is da-da-da-da-da, I'm not most of the time. Some people, y'all got to understand, what it seems like you're doing is there's a lot of people that just want to start mess around here. Y'all chill out with it, please. Because most of this stuff is really not that serious. These are conversations about specific situations, not necessarily specific people. Now, a lot of the celebrities and stuff, I'll list them directly. And like if I'm talking about the DDG and Haley situation or Holly situation, excuse me. I'm gonna say the names because that's how I feel. But yeah. Helen Keller says if people know your content, they know it's never intended to be disrespectful. Yeah, it definitely isn't at all. Now, you might take it that way. It is what it is. Now, do I say some things strongly? Do I say some things like, hey, you shouldn't do this, or I feel you shouldn't do that? Yes, I do. If you take it to heart, you just take it to heart. Now that I've given all those caveats, let me also talk about this post that went, that was going through and it was shared by multiple people. Okay. What I need y'all to understand is two things in the situation. The post was, what makes a legend? It was a gentleman, name does not matter, but he was basically talking about Bo Hagan. and saying, hey, what actually, I hear the word legend thrown out a lot. And why is it that we're calling Bo Hagan a legend? Okay. Now, first and foremost, let me address this part. Yes, some people do throw the word legend around a little too easy, but that is subjective. Okay. We got to understand it. That is an opinion about what makes somebody a legend or not. So let's go to the definition of the word legend. All right. There's two definitions that can touch it. There's like 4 or 5 total, but the two that have something to do with musical people or music is, the first one is a person who is revered, admired, or much loved. That's the first definition of legend. Second definition of legend is a person whose fame or notoriety makes them a source of exaggerated or romanticized takes or exploits. Now, when it comes to music, how we feel about music, point blank period, is subjective. But what a person does or has done in the music game isn't really subjective when it comes to the accolades, awards won, songs they've put out, body of work, the number of songs. Those are objective. Those are, you can count things like that. The problem is there's a lot of the backroom stuff that some of us don't necessarily know. So first off, in my opinion, I do feel that Bo Hagan is a legend. Okay. Might I be biased? One, I am originally from the South. Been everywhere, but I am from the South. Okay. The crunk movement was during my high school years. A lot of us tend to be partial to music that was during our high school years. There's so many memories in college years. We were getting into things, we were out and about, we were in the streets a lot. So a lot of us tend to gravitate to music from kind of 14 to 24. That's a decade where we seem to, it's nostalgia. Just like how we love cartoons and remember those fondly from our younger days. A lot of the TV that we watch is molded by what we watched as a child, some of us. So music kind of applies also. Now, that's what I want to talk about with Bo Hagan. First of all, he had one of the most iconic verses, really verse of the year during that year when, hopping the bug in the hall ass kind of thing. Now, if you want to talk about, it wasn't super lyrical, but it rode. And back then, it wasn't, in that span of time, it wasn't all about lyrics. It was also about beats. It was about the movement in the crunk era. And Bo Hagan happened to also be a pen for a lot of people. He is written for a lot of people during that time. Still has written for people even after that time. But I'm speaking on the crunk movement. I'm speaking on, that crunk, that trap during that era of time before you got to the braggadocious and the swag music. So that was pretty much, from early 2000s to 08 kind of thing, almost a decade. That was like really crunk. And then as we got a little bit past that, that's when we went to swag music. That's when we went to the Roscoe Dashes and all of that and going into the 2010s and things of that nature. Soulja Boy pushing out, doing even more, becoming super big during that time also. So to talk about Bo Hagan, yes, I understand that he was mostly regional. That is understandable. But that does not mean that he can't still be, a legend. What's going on, Beth? How are you doing? And so, again, being a legend is subjective. But for a lot of us during that time. So I'm almost 40 years old. I'm turning 39 on June 26th, y'all. I'll be putting out a birthday list later on. But most of us who grew up anywhere near that time frame remember the crunk movement and remember it fondly. Little John, the East Side Boys, Pitbull, although he did other things afterwards. Everybody associated with that. You know, Big Sam, all them guys, Bo Hagen, Lil Scrappy. Those are some of the main people in the crunk movement. And so a lot of us remember that fondly. It wasn't necessarily about super lyricism, but it was about how it made you feel. It was about going to the club. It was about the booty shaking songs that was also crunk. It was to the window, to the walls, to the sweat fall down my balls. Those was the songs in most of our generation. Okay, song after song, hit after hit. Those were killing it then. And Bo Hagen wrote for a lot of people during that time. He also, coming from this area in general, okay, being from Talbotton area, I spent some time out there, lived out in Box Springs. Never met him personally, but I've been around him, a few events, was able to judge with him at some things at Martini's and other places. So I met the guy. So I'm not going to say that I'm not biased, but for my opinion, yes, you can be a legend, even if you're mostly regional. And that is no knock on him. I'm just speaking as much as I can be on just the facts. But he also had songs that went, did good. He went gold. He's, got the songs that went platinum with John them. So, yes, I think, in my opinion, you can be a legend for what you have done and how you help push a movement. Okay, everybody's not gonna be Jeezy or T.I. and have the millions and millions and millions of sales. Everybody's not gonna be that. But you can be a legend in your own right. Not in your own mind, but in your own right. And so that's just my take on it. Now, one thing I noticed in this situation that came on the post is you can't always take somebody's tone or understand what their tone is in texting, social media. That is a big, big problem in communication today. As someone who prides myself on being able to communicate when I want to properly, tone is very hard to tell. So I don't know if he was joking. I don't know if it was serious. I don't know what the situation is. But I think a lot of people assumed that he was making jokes and trying to be funny about it at first. Now, the gentleman took it very nicely. He was laughing about it and, making jokes back and stuff like that. But I want to say some of the things that I saw people were saying in response to the gentleman, I wasn't exactly cool with. Now, it's not my battle to fight. That's his. But some of those comments was uncalled for. If a person has an opinion about something and they're giving it, can we keep it to what he's saying? Now, Bo Hagen addressed it himself. Okay. So he didn't need no help. And he chose to mostly take he threw a shot in there. He did. But I definitely feel that this was something that could have been handled a little better. I understand the man had an opinion that was not really popular, especially here in the South. But he's got the right to have that opinion, and to attack him about other things, about how he looks or this and that. And, as a person who people come at me about my weight as soon as they disagree with me about something, I understand. First thing is you look like this or you built like this and stuff. And it's like, bro, that don't got nothing to do with what I said. Are you saying that I'm wrong? And if you're wrong, can you show me? Defend your point, please. So I'm not here to take any sides about it. I gave how I feel about it. I think that Bo Hagen is a legend. I gave you the definition of what a legend is. I spoke about what he has done, and he also gives back to the community a lot and does things also. By the way, I forgot to put that in there. Gave those things. So that's why I feel that he's a legend. That's all. Simple as that. Now, if you don't agree with me, cool. If you agree with me, cool. Thank you very much for the discourse. I would love to, you guys want to talk about it. But let's make sure that we understand that people can have opinions and they're not necessarily disrespectful. Now, we can't help how you take it. I want to say that. I deal with that on a regular basis. But anyway it goes, I'll be doing more kind of short form content. Well, this is still long form content, but shorter than normal. Be doing a lot of solo projects now. Feeling a little bit more comfortable in the way that I look, honestly. This part of it. We'll be getting on camera a little more than I have been before. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who watches, listens, like, share, subscribe. Speaking of like, share, subscribe, y'all please go to my YouTube. I get a lot of followers on Facebook. I get plenty of engagement on that, but I'm trying to move people to YouTube so that way I can do more over there instead of here and do more personal content here. But more hot seat stuff will be, eventually it's just going to be found just on the YouTube. So if you can go to YouTube, type in the hot seat with EJ Thomas, like, share, and subscribe for your boy. Thank you very much. I'm gonna see y'all later.
He the voice of the streets, can't compare, so versatile. Try to keep up, it's gonna take a while. Talk game is on wild style. Just tune in, let it run you down. It's the conversation, baby. Hey, how miss the conversation, baby. Hey, hey, they call it Mr. Conversation, call it Mr. Conversation, baby.